Very difficult to watch, Melissa. On a different note, the 401k was launched in the 1980s here in the United States to allow management-level employees to put away more money for their retirement. Companies embrace them as alternatives to costly pension plans, but according to the Wall Street Journal, 401ks are falling short. So here to explain is one of our favorite financial advisors, Lance Roberts from Street Talk Advisors. And before we get to Lance answering some of our tough questions, we want to give you some numbers for some perspective on this topic. According to the Journal, people aged 60 to 62 with a median income of $87,700 need a minimum of $74,500 annually to retire. That's about 85% of their income. Experts estimate Social Security will provide as much as 40% of their pre-retirement income, or $35,000 a year for that median family. The median 401k plan holds $149,000, which would generate just over $9,000 a year. And that leaves retirees short over $30,000 a year. That's the nugget of information that you need to take away here. You would need at least $636,000 total in your 401k to generate the needed $39,000 that you would need. Only 8% of us have that much in our retirement savings accounts, and that is a lot of money. Over $600,000, Lance, we would need to save up for when we retire to be able to take care of ourselves. So what can people do?
Well, first thing is to come back and just do some basic financial planning. One, if you look across the spectrum, this is kind of focusing on the older population.
Sure, right.
If you look at the population as a whole across the entire segment of the country, the average income is about $50,000 a year. The average savings is less than that. So in most cases, a lot of people just simply aren't saving enough. They're living paycheck to paycheck. Of course, when you look at an environment like we have today, where inflationary prices are rising, food costs are going up, gasoline prices you were talking about earlier going up, more of that's getting eaten away out of the discretionary income. So the first line of defense here is to start paying yourself first. In other words, focus on your savings, contribute to your 401k plan first. That's a good place to start. Fund that, and then start saving some after-tax dollars, and then living on the balance. A good median nugget for most families is to save about 30% of their gross income. If you do that over time, you'll have enough money saved up to retire. The other side of this is not to lose it by investing aggressively in the market.
Okay, so that's good advice. Well, unless you're younger, right? If you're younger, no, not so much.
It's a huge it's a huge fallacy. Look, we've already spent 10 years with a zero rate of return over the last decade. We experienced something very unique in the 80s and 90s that was due to a combination of falling interest rates and falling inflation that led to a stock market boom, one of like we have not seen ever in the history of the financial world. That is very unlikely to happen again in the future. So more likely what we're going to see over the next 20 to 30 years are rolling periods of just increases and decreases. So the important thing is not about trying to track an index, which is where most people, because that makes you invest too aggressively. It's about making your savings that you have today grow for the rate of inflation over time. So you want to invest to grow your money at 4 or 5%, no more than that. Because historically, that's about what the markets return over time, and that'll keep you from losing a lot of money when markets decline.
Let's talk a little bit about, you were saying 85% of your is what you're going to need, your income calculated. Let's say that you retire, you have your house paid off, you're debt-free, still 85%? It
still is. Actually, they did a survey about 6-8 months ago with 5,000 retirees. They found out that the average income needed pre-retirement and post-retirement was only about 12% difference. The reason is that you substitute, right? Instead of driving to work and paying for lunch, you're now playing golf and going out to lunch with your buddies. You're traveling. Your medical costs are going up quite a bit as you get older. More medicines, more medications, more time, more trips to the hospital. Those all things, and insurance costs themselves are going up. So as we get older, there is a substitution effect that's going on that's still requiring you to need about 85 to 88% of your income that you had pre-retirement.
I'm glad you cleared that up. That's fantastic information. All right, now I just have to get to that $600,000 mark.
That's easy.
All right.
Savings, savings, savings.
And of course, putting as much as I can in my 401k, because that's pre-tax, right?
That's first step. Fully fund your 401k, and then if you can qualify, fund a Roth, or if you're a spouse with a stay-at-home spouse, fund a spousal IRA, and then most importantly, have some after-tax savings. You need to have an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of income, in case something goes wrong.
Right, I've heard that before.
Right, and that keeps you from dipping into your 401k because it's the last place you want to borrow from. And then, of course, you need some after-tax dollars saved up so you can mitigate some of your tax consequences in retirement.
All right, there we go. He's the money man. Lance, thank you. All right, let's send it over to